dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Thanks for staying up late with us. A busy and emotional day for lawmakers in Frankfort. Midnight, right now, was the deadline for them to pass bills they want to hit Governor Beshear's desk in time for the veto period. One of those bills was Senate Bill 150. The House made last-minute changes to it, adding language from a bill dealing with gender-affirming health care. Grayson Passmore has the latest.
Senate Bill 150 was passed by the Senate tonight after it was amended by the House, adding language from House Bill 470. That's language that deals with restricting gender-affirming medical treatments. The passage led to tense discussions on and off the Senate floor.
This is absolute, willful, intentional hate for a small group of people that are the weakest and the most vulnerable among us.
Heated discussion on the Senate floor as the fate of SB 150 with new language lies in the hands of legislators Thursday evening.
I find it so hypocritical that people are condemning us for this legislation but can turn a blind eye to 50 years of Roe versus Wade that killed 63 million innocent babies. So don't lecture me about caring for children when you will openly support the murder of innocent children.
Before the amendment was added, SB 150 would not require teachers to use a student's preferred pronoun and would require parental notification on sexually related matters. The House Education Committee quickly passed SB 150 with changes from House Bill 470 that deal with preventing healthcare providers from performing surgery on a minor to change his or her sex, and with subject matter referred to as the bathroom bill.
The standards of care that we currently follow for gender-affirming care in Kentucky, which would be made illegal if and when this becomes law, already do the things that they say they want done. And so this bill is not about protecting children. It is culture wars at its most deplorable.
Emma Curtis, a trans woman herself, shared her own testimony with legislators and listened as both the House and the Senate passed this bill.
We are just people, and we deserve the same right to happiness and self-determination as anybody else.
The bill now heads to the governor's desk. At the Capitol, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
The ACLU released a statement saying, quote, legislators cannot erase transgender people from existence, and we will continue to fight for equal rights and equal protection under the law. On the other side, the Family Foundation called this, quote, a big win for Kentucky families. A medical marijuana bill passed the Senate tonight for the first time ever. Several bills on the issue have come up through the years but have never passed out of a Senate committee. Tonight, the Senate passed Senate Bill 47 in a 26-11 vote. Under this bill, users would not be allowed to smoke marijuana, only use edible versions. It would be available to people with qualifying medical conditions like cancer, epilepsy, and PTSD. The bill will still need to pass the House, but it's believed it does have enough support to pass there, and Governor Beshear will likely sign it if it does.
Well, the night quiet so far as we burn the midnight oil quite literally in this weather office. We will continue to see some chillier airs start to work into the region as we head a little bit later on tomorrow. For tonight, we remain mild. There's the current readings all throughout the region into the middle and upper 50s, even low 60s right now. Warmer than we should be for the highs this time of year. We'll continue to see ground clutter for now, but those showers not far away, working toward the Lexington metro area. Pushing on back, yeah, we've got quite a bit of shower activity to our west, and that will only increase as we head through tonight. Lows right around 50 as those breezes increase. Details on when we see finally a return to some drier weather in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. A matchup at Rupp Arena tonight certainly put the sweet in the boys basketball Sweet 16 tournament. Both Martin County and Frederick Douglass High School in Lexington had special stories behind their fight for a state title. Chad Hedrick explains from Rupp Arena.
They packed Rupp Arena in red and orange. Two teams with their own stories fighting it out on the hardwood. We'll start in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. These students and fans from Martin County driving nearly 2.5 hours to Lexington.
You know, the 606 band together, the area code, we've had a rough year in the mountains. We started the school year with historic flooding, and I think it really did a lot to just pull the mountains together, pull our communities together.
This group is with the band that's made of Pike County Central students. Martin County has faced challenges with finances and size, and their neighbors wanted to help them out in the postseason.
As our band director Jason Johnson said, it was just an organic experience where the Pike Central band just came in and started playing for Martin County. It was just an impromptu performance.
On the other side of the court, Frederick Douglass fans had a much shorter drive, but the road to get here has been a long one. Finally reaching the big stage.
Everybody's been excited. Everybody's just been ready to go. I mean, we had our girls lose, and that was tough, but you know, we're ready to cheer on the boys. Hopefully they can win a state championship.
For senior Thomas Howard and his classmates, they are experiencing something no other Douglass class has, seeing their school in the Sweet 16, capping off what has been a wild high school experience.
I mean, it's been awesome because, you know, with COVID and stuff, but now this year it's kind of like more open than it ever has been since freshman year for us. So, you know, we're having fun and just trying to take it all in.
Ultimately, the Broncos outshined the Cardinals as the journey to their first state title still has time on the clock. At Rupp Arena, Chad Hedrick, WYMT Mountain News.
And we'll have more from the Martin County and the later North Laurel games at the Sweet 16 a little bit later in sports. March Madness is also well underway in Greensboro, North Carolina. Amber Philpott and Lee K. Howard are there as the Wildcats prepare for the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Good evening to you from Greensboro. By this time tomorrow night, we should know if the Cats are moving on in the tournament. They're playing here in a Coliseum that seats about roughly the same as Rupp Arena. It just feels a little bit smaller in here. Today, the Cats got a chance to get out there on the floor, sort of take it all in front of some Big Blue fans. And Lee K, come tomorrow, sort of the slate is wiped clean, and all of those games before this, they really don't matter.
And that's good for this Kentucky team especially, who's had some ups and downs all season long. They seemed excited when we spoke to them earlier today to get back into the game mode and play a game first time in about a week after losing in the SEC tournament. You know, we really don't know what team is going to come out for Kentucky tomorrow night against Providence. This team has seen its ups and downs. Several players on this team, of course, remember that feeling of being sent home early last year, and that's something that they don't want to feel again this year. The question now is, which Kentucky team will show up against Providence? Will it be the team that swept Tennessee, blew out Auburn, and won on the road at Arkansas? Or will it be the team that lost at home to South Carolina and then dropped a pair against Vandy late in the season?
One game. None of us know what's going to happen. None of us. We could all, a 1 has beaten a 16. And you may not know this, a 2 has beaten a 15. A few times. A couple Hall of Famers, too, by the way. That's happened. So you don't know. 12-5, 6-11. I mean, I'm looking at the 11 saying, why aren't they the 6? And, you know, I mean, it's, no one knows.
Now, the encouraging thing about today's practice, I think, is the availability of players. Xavier Wheeler, C.J. Frederick, Kaysen Wallace, they all seem to be practicing, so it looks like they're going to be pretty healthy going into that game.
That is good when it comes to tournament time. Well, one of the best parts of covering the tournament is finding the fans and hearing their stories of why they travel near and far for their Cats. And today at open practice, I was able to talk to folks from Pikeville, from Louisville, who now call North Carolina home. But a Kentucky mother and daughter duo drove all the way down from Burlington, Kentucky, just to spend some time together. They came to get a front row seat and snap a bunch of pictures of their Cats. Tina Maxey of Danville, Virginia, has never seen her Cats in person, so Thursday she was soaking up every minute of their open practice.
This is just like my on my bucket list.
For a gal from Virginia, the Cats became her team, and it became a lifelong love affair.
I started pulling for them back when I was a teenager. They wasn't big in our area, and I was watching the games all the time, and I just fell in love with them. And
Shannon Redmond and her daughter Leah drove down from Burlington, Kentucky, making a trip to the tournament for the Cats, a little road trip of their own.
I kind of actually convinced her to. I got a time off work, so I was like, why not? And love Kentucky, always have. And I wish my dad was here too.
I asked Leah what she thought about former Wildcat, now turned Providence Friar Bryce Hopkins taking the court against the Big Blue Friday, and what she thought might happen.
A win and not a Bryce Hopkins revenge game.
In the stands today alongside those Big Blue fans were some Providence folks who are glad that Hopkins made the switch and are hoping he takes them all the way.
I think the story of Bryce Hopkins in Providence is opportunity, just like he didn't have at Kentucky.
The Big Blue Nation will definitely disagree. We talked to so many locals here today that are Big Blue fans who never thought that they would see the Cats in their backyard, so they really snatched up those tickets as fast as they could, and they were excited to be able to see them both today and then, of course, in action tomorrow night. And I still, Lee K, cannot believe that I met a man who bleeds for North Carolina, that shade of blue, but he said he loves good quality basketball, so he was going to cheer for UK in the tournament all the way.
I just hope he doesn't tell any of his other North Carolina friends that that's his plan. But you know what? Kentucky will take all the fans that they can get, even if they wear that lighter shade of blue.
Absolutely, we will. For now, that is the story here inside Greensboro Coliseum. Back to you.
All right, Amber and Lee K, thank you very much. Tip-off is tomorrow night at 7:10. You can watch it all right here on WYMT. The city of Moorhead welcomed home its heroes this evening after a big win in the National Invitational Tournament. The Moorhead State Eagles received a police and fire escort down Main Street less than 24 hours after the team's 68-64 upset of the top-seeded Clemson Tigers. Coach Preston Spradlin and his players got a lot of handshakes and hugs from the fans. Next up for Moorhead State is a second-round matchup with UAB on Sunday. Tip time for that game is 3 p.m. The primary election is just 2 months away. Many of the Republican candidates for governor are making stops across the state. Kelly Craft visited 4 eastern Kentucky counties Thursday, and we were there. She greeted supporters in Letcher County.
What are we going to do today to make the lives of Kentuckians better? I will take that same mentality to Frankfort, and I will be focused on making the lives of every Kentuckian better.
During Craft's visit, she touched on the changes she hopes to make in Kentucky education, the fentanyl crisis, and the need for affordable and safe housing in eastern Kentucky following the flood. Coming up on Mountain News, one bridge in Pike County has recently been replaced and reopened after damage from the July flood.
And showers back in the region as soon as, well, a couple hours from now. Details after this.
It's Sydney inviting you to ride to Total Savings on the Thornhill Motor Mile, where the 2023 tax write-off is on at Thornhill.